Friday Daily Grind. I don't know what that was. Welcome to the Daily Grind. We're going to be positive and big energy to start the show because we need to be. It's important. I am your host, Luke Hatmaker, on this morning following the trade deadline. It is Fun Shirt Friday, as we are referring to it. Fun Shirt Friday. And I got Rusty with me. How are you, brother? Everyone got to see you live the whole time yesterday. How are you better now?
I'm something. We're processing through. I'm glad to be here with you. Drew and I were on for 2.5 hours yesterday, right up to the trade deadline, waiting on that move. No, Kenny, I have not officially recovered. My old tail is tired. And then this morning, Luke, I got embarrassed. So I went into the kitchen. I opened the refrigerator door to get some eggs out to make breakfast, and I heard a scream. And I didn't realize there was a salad dressing in the fridge. But I'm good, man. Happy Friday.
God, I love it. The best part of Monday. I don't even care that I don't even care about yesterday because of that. We're good. We're just gonna jump right into this. Yeah, DG, I think we all are still in our feels. Sounds like Middleton isn't being bought out. I guess that's important to put up. Let's just jump right into it. To recap yesterday, if you did not see it, I don't know what you were doing. But the Memphis Grizzlies traded Marcus Smart to the Wizards and Jake LaRavia to the Kings in a 3-team deal. So we can hit really quick what everybody got, and then I just want to break it down. So Memphis gets Marvin Bagley III, Johnny Davis, and 2 second-rounders. The Kings got Jake LaRavia, and the Wizards got Marcus Smart, Colby Jones, Alex Lynn, our 2025 first, which we had to attach to Marcus for that to get anyone to take him, it seems, and Sacramento's 2028 second-round pick. So that being said, I
appreciate Kenny in the comments. Best part of waking
up. Best part of waking up is Rusty's puns. I'll workshop it. I am just. So I titled. So here's where I want to start. I think that there needs to be something added to the CBA next year. I titled the episode. I think it needs to be called the Smart Rebate. It's when in the CBA, you have to attach a first-round pick to a player because they have tanked their value so much. Nurkic is another great example. They're like, hey, would you like use of Nurkic along with the Smart Rebate? I just think that we need to add that language in there because that's what startled me the most about yesterday was how little Marcus Smart's value actually was. Because I think a lot of us, it's been all leading up to it, using him as a trade piece to get anyone, and it turns out nobody wanted him. And
exactly,
that's
working through it live on air was tough because, like, when it happened, we hit the trade alert. We made a little bump video. It hit, and it's like Marcus Smart got traded, and we were like, "Oh, it's happening!"
Yeah,
it was like in a multi-team trade, and we were like, "I mean, this is it. Like, we're getting Cam Johnson, we're getting somebody." And it's probably some bias there, even though we wanted Marcus gone. Like, we evaluated Marcus a bit higher than like what he actually was. Because like you said, we essentially had to pay Washington to take him. Marcus Smart is going to ultimately cost us 3 first-round picks.
Yeah.
It costs us 2 to get him, and then it costs us 1 to get rid of him. And it was just a somber feeling. Go back and watch yesterday, me, Drew, and Kenny, all 3 of us are just kind of like, until Jake LaRavia was part of the deal. And then Kenny and I took a victory lap, which was amazing. I'm
glad to hear you say you thought it was somber because I was watching the show. And then when that happened, I literally had to jump off it for a second. I was like, these guys are sad. I was like, I want to give them some time to grieve. And when I came back, you guys were excited again with Jake LaRavia. So it was good. But
yeah,
man,
I just like it for that price, like, why I don't understand why you don't just wait to the offseason when like Cam Johnson. That's what I kept saying all day yesterday. Like, if we don't get him today, the price will be lower this summer. We need to lower it. Like, the price will be lower this summer. Let's just hang on to him and wait. And now, like, it tells me 2 things. 1, Marcus Smart's value was at an all-time low, that we had to get rid of a first-round pick to get rid of him. And 2, that he wanted out of Memphis because it had to have been something to where we had to just move off of him, whether it was, I'm not going to say toxic, but he clearly didn't want to be here and we didn't want him here. That's the only thing I can think of as to why we pushed that deal through yesterday. I get getting rid of Jake, but like at that lower price for Marcus Smart, it had to have been that he couldn't be in Memphis any longer.
Yeah, I was going to bring up the trade exception.
Yeah.
I was going to bring up the trade exception, but Daniel brings up a good point. We never use those. We didn't use Stevens. We didn't use Dillon's. We haven't used. It's really frustrating because we get these pretty decent size trade exceptions that we never use.
We will have the MLE, like we'll have like a mid-level exception that we have used in the past, but like we'll have the MLE this summer. I don't know that we'll use it. You know, it's very clear that we're a very frugal, I won't say cheap, but a very frugal small market team.
I'll say cheap. Are we becoming cheap?
I think we are, because we're not going into like, I don't care what Robert Pera and Zach Kleiman say, we are not going into the luxury tax. That's painfully obvious over the last 3 seasons when like we all agree that this is a great basketball team. And I said yesterday, like we've got a tough 10-man rotation. We're second in the West. We're 4th in the NBA. 2 things can be true. Pardon my French, but yesterday was a shit performance at the trade deadline, and we have a really good basketball team. But we all agree that one piece, whether that been Cam Johnson, DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, like there was one piece would have taken us from great to elite. And we either A, we didn't do it, B, we couldn't get it done, which is another conversation about Zach Kleiman, that he just couldn't get a deal done, or C, we stuck to our guns when we were trying to get KD, Jimmy, Cam, maybe DeAndre, and every one of them said, we want one of Gigi, Jalen, or Vince. And if that's the case, and Kleiman said no to all those, then I take back every negative thing I've said, because that's how you handle that.
I agree. It does everything. It does seem like the Heat wanted Gigi. I mean, and it's tough because it's like, I see it, Austin. Is that nobody wants to deal with Kleiman, or is it because he sticks to his guns the reason they don't want to deal with him? Because we're looking at, I mean, it's a lot of guys like Dorian Finney-Smith. I mean, not on the same scale, but DFS, that deal fell through. Kevin Durant didn't want to come here. Jimmy Butler didn't want to come here. It just seems like there's something that happens. Like, is it because he's sticking to his guns? Is he just bad at this?
It could be either one. I'm a glass half full guy. I've had my crash out. I'm a glass half full guy. I'm going to say maybe Kleiman is just not wanting to push Gigi or Jalen or Vince in a trade. And if that's the case, then I'm all for that. Because if you think about what we've done in the draft, we have 2 good cores that are coming up. Like you've got the Grizz Next Gen, who are they're 25 years old. And somebody was in our comments yesterday talking about our window is closing for a championship. Brother, our core is 25 years old. And then just behind that, we have a 21, 22-year-old Vince and Jalen, and then a 20-year-old Gigi. Like we have 2 distinct big 3 that are kind of coming up. And then you can throw Edie in there somewhere. But like, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because I'm a glass half full kind of guy and say that he stuck to his guns.
Yeah, I agree. And it's worth I mean, if part of those guns we're saying that we're cheap, it's like I'm worried about that, but it is worth noting that we can now offer the super max to Jaren this offseason, and it's looking like he's going to get all NBA. I mean, he was drafted. I mean, we're not going to talk about it, but he was drafted really high in the All-Star draft.
Seventh
higher than Wemby, higher than Anthony Davis, like higher than a lot of people. And so
this also, Wayno, plug your ears, brother, but this also tells me that Santi's going to get re-signed this summer. We're going to re-sign Santi, possibly Luke. So like we needed plenty of cap space to make those things happen.
Yes, I completely agree. And it's I don't know. I think that we're obviously going to pay Jaren, and I think you're absolutely right. We're going to pay these other guys. It's like, this is one thing we do have to remember. It's shout out Wayno. Thank you. We do got to manage this because we all think we can do it till we're in there.
Yeah. I mean, so I got put in a couple like group chats on Twitter yesterday or day before, and they were just all like, you know, we're getting my source is this, my source is that. Like, ain't none of y'all got sources. Everybody's source said that KD was coming to Memphis and he wanted to play with Ja, and there was a flight from Phoenix to Memphis. Like all this BS, man. Like at the end of the day, we're a small market team. It's hard to attract some of those big names, and we don't know what was being offered, right? Like he may have called and offered a first for John Collins, and they said that's fine, but you're going to send us Gigi. And again, like other teams are making deals without their stars. what happened, the unfortunate thing for us, we have 6 players, in my opinion, that are pretty well untouchable. That's a lot. And in order to go get somebody, you got to give somebody up. And our role players weren't that good. Like, we got a second round for Jake. Jitty's not going to fetch that. He's got a bad contract.
Jitty is still here.
Still a Memphis Grizzly, man. That tells you it's not like the last thing I was having. I'm long-winded this morning, but I'm working through it. Right,
let's do it. Yeah,
like on 2K, NBA 2K, there is a feature where you can click push all trades, and then you can go make a Luka AD type trade. But it's not like that in the real world. It's not. And Alan, I mean, I think we have 6 untouchable players.
We went through this yesterday.
Desmond, Jaren, then Gigi, Jalen, and Vince, in my opinion, are untouchable.
Yep, I agree with you. And we talked about this yesterday, 2 days ago. I don't know. We talked about this one day this week. I 100%. Those are my 6. And one thing that's really, really interesting is 3 of those guys are second round picks. I think that's worth noting. We are good at drafting in the second round. Kenny, I'm still here. Dennis Schroeder.
I'm so thankful. He got moved again.
He got moved again. Back, I got back. I didn't even get on the plane. He did, I think. That poor bastard.
Did you see he bought a new house? It's a U-Haul truck. He's just living out of it right now.
He's a van guy now.
Yeah. I do feel bad for his kid because he posted that Instagram post about, Dad, we're finally going to a winning team, when he went to Golden State. And then he opened his mouth again and went from Golden State to Utah to Detroit, which, I mean, Detroit's better than Utah. I'll say that.
Yep. Detroit's looking good. So I do want to throw DG had a run, but he did the best trade that Kleiman's ever made. I think that's an interesting point to talk about because this one is not one of them. I would say nothing involving Marcus was. Marcus is out to me. Did he trade for Steve-O? Oh, I clicked on something.
He was the Steve-O trade. Was he the Luke? He was also Luke, right?
Luke would be me. I think the Kennard deal is really good.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be the Steve-O deal was also good.
Jarrett Culver. I take it all back.
Exactly right. Yeah,
I like bringing it back to Jarrett Culver.
Always, if you can bring it back to Jarrett Culver, you always want to do that.
He was in all those post game interviews. He always managed to show up. He would slide in at the very bottom and be like, "Hey, I play on this team."
Let's see. So he became senior director of basketball operations 2017. So he was GM before 2018, 2019. So yeah, Luke. In the end, he also Kleiman made 7 trades, sending Mike Conley to Utah, Iguodala to Miami. It's got to be the Steve over the Luke trade. For me, it's probably going to be Luke just because we've got Luke and he's one of the best all-time shooters, and that's what we'll go with.
But think about what we're saying. Like, we are talking about a guy who every deadline there's smoke about, are we going to get somebody? And he goes and gets like your 7th or 8th guy on the roster. Steve-O's a different thing. Steve-O was a starting center, but it's like a position that's relatively undervalued. It's just I think it goes back to what you said. We're a small market, and it's tough to. I don't
finish. I want to talk about this. Finish your thought, and then I want to talk about this.
So I lost it. Let's do this. This is important.
I'm so sorry. That's my
no. I saw it too, and I was about to put it up. We saw it at the same time. I was going to go with it.
So what this is, and what our team, like our fan base, has, is this phenomenon called FOMO, fear of missing out, right? And we sat on the sidelines and we watched Luka get moved, and Jimmy get moved, and DeAndre Hunter get moved, and all these big names get shuffled around. It was one of the most fun trade deadlines of all time, and a bunch of couch GMs thought that, like in 2K, you could make whatever trades you wanted, and that we were going to be able to send, I cannot tell you how many Marcus, Santi, Jitty, Jake, and first-round picks I saw like trade machines for Kevin Durant. Like, there is not a universe, and there's a theory that there's an infinite amount of universes, and not in a single one of them is John Contra going to be in a Kevin Durant trade. Not a single one of them. I don't care what Fanspo or ESPN Trade Machine, none of them say. And I don't care. Like, I don't understand. Like DeAndre Hunter probably went for a low price, but that may not have been a fit. There may have been a reason we didn't go after him. The FOMO is what's driving this. Like, people wanted to make a trade just to be included in a fun trade deadline more than, hey, we need XYZ.
Yep. And it's interesting to talk to, like, we saw all these teams, quote, have the greatest trade deadline ever. We're second in the West, and the only team behind us that I'm really, really worried about catching us in the regular season, at least, and not even catching us. The only one of these teams that I'm like, I don't want to see them in the postseason. If with a healthy Luka, I'm worried about the Lakers. But like everybody else behind us, I don't. The Mavericks, they're too far back. I just don't. I feel good. I feel good about it.
Yeah, and you start a couple of them. This one's big because like everybody's like, oh, you never draft a championship team. Well, somebody's got to do it first, and it's going to happen. And it happens in baseball. It's happened in football. It just maybe not happened in the NBA. It has happened in the past, but this new, CBA free agency trade market has definitely skewed everybody's view of it. Like Cam Johnson might not be the fit that we think. DeAndre Hunter might not be the fit that we think. Look, I'm upset. I'm pissed. This sucks.
Yeah.
But we also are the fourth best team in the NBA record-wise. We're second in the West. We're 10-1 in our last 11 games. Our only loss was to a Knicks team that beat the forevermore shit out of us. Ooh. And all we've done since then is go on a 4-game winning streak, beating Houston, who had our number all year.
On a 5-game losing streak since that loss.
Yeah, like we broke Houston. Like we pulled a Bay. Like I would break you, right? Like it was just like, I don't know, man. If you're crashing out over not getting involved in the trade deadline, I don't know what to tell you. I bet you're at blasted parties.
I got me. I completely agree. Really quick, because I do want to talk about we talked about the trade in general. I want to talk about the guys we got back. I mean, just a little bit. I think that Luke Kennard is easily the best answer because we did that pick that Zaire Trey Murphy picked, because I would argue he's the only untouchable guy currently on the Pelicans.
It's Trey Murphy.
I love that dude. And yeah, so Paris, shout out. It's Nardo. It's Nardo.
Yeah.
So let's, in all the kerfuffle of us like sending out Marcus, and God, in our group chat yesterday, you and I and Wayno and Drew were talking about this. I'm glad we sent his ass to Washington, because it's like, bro, you show up, you're gonna learn about professionalism in the worst team in the league, brother.
I mean, that's it. You're going to show up out of shape. You're going to not want to be here because it's clear, like, he pushed his way out. Like, that's the only real explanation I can come up is one or both sides wanted him gone, like, out of Memphis.
He was sweating like a recovering alcoholic in that last. Like, it was rough.
Like, I understand you have a baby and, like, you gain weight, like, during that process, but you're a professional athlete, brother. Like, you showed up looking like an uncle at LA Fitness, man. Just, like.
Run on a damn treadmill. Like,
you said it best yesterday, like. I didn't know that treadmill, because somebody, I think it was you or somebody said, I didn't know that if you had an injured finger that the treadmill didn't work.
I think it was Wayno.
Wayno, that's who it was. Wayno. Like, ugh.
So in all this kerfuffle that we're mentioning, Memphis did get 2 players and 2 second rounders. Kleiman knows what to do with second rounders, and that's becoming the new currency of the league. We don't have to really talk about that. But Marvin Bagley III and Johnny Davis are players in this league. They
are players.
They play basketball in the NBA currently. Sort of. I also saw a really, really great. I remember my point from earlier. This is great, man. My mind is great. So we can't pay Santi even if someone offers him real money. Here's my thing. We got guys that want to be here, and that's important. Santi wants to be here. Our big 3 want to be here. Our 3 second round, they want to be here, and they love each other, and that's important, because we don't have, clearly people don't want to come here. Like, for whatever reason, they don't want to, and that's fine.
That's fine. Like, Memphis ain't for everybody. It's for a special type of player. It's a blue collar city. You got to be a blue collar type player. But if you get in, like, if you're in, you're in. If you're one of us, like, we're all we got. We're all we need, right? You come to Memphis, like, it's special here. And so there are people who don't deserve to be here. Marcus Smart being one of them. A guy's CP doesn't belong to be here because he fleeced us for $95 million. But like it takes a special type of player to be here in Memphis. And Golden State built a team from scratch without a ton of trades. Yes, they got KD for that one run, but they won 73 games the year before. Boston, grassroots team that grew up. Like, we're just going to take our bumps and we're going to be there, man. Like, that's, I hope, I'm keeping receipts on every one of these when this team is in the championship very soon. with a homegrown built team. I'm keeping the receipts, and Marvin Bagley may be a big part of that.
Yeah, well, it's so interesting, man. We're just gonna. I don't even care what we're talking about. As upset and angry as I was with the trade, or just kind of sorrowful as I was, I still feel good about our team. Like,
that's it, man. Like, I logged off Twitter last night, and it was the best thing I did. Like, I logged off Twitter for several hours yesterday, and I took Shelby for a walk. I made soup for me and Maggie. Like, just kind of had a really nice, or took Shelby outside, played a really nice afternoon. And the more I thought about it, it's like, you know what? Like, we're fine because we're the fourth best team in basketball. We've got a shot. And the thing is, man, like, and I said this, I did say this yesterday before I got on Twitter. Like, if we go beat Oklahoma City on Saturday, all these nerds are going to be completely singing a different song, different song. Because you take this team that we have and you go throttle Oklahoma City on Saturday, everything's forgotten.
Yep. And then you know what? Bringing it back kind of around. Are Bagley and Davis going to play on this team?
No,
I don't think so.
Johnny Davis ain't going to see a minute. Marvin Bagley's hurt. He's been out with a knee injury, probably preserving some. I don't know, but no, neither of these nerds are going to play.
I agree.
And Bagley was a guy that I wanted out of college, and he had that 8-game stretch a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And then he was good pre-COVID, and that's been it.
I was like, I know I like Bagley at some. I like Bagley at some points. I was trying to remember when, and it's funny. I was always joking about us going. We always end up making the Jarrett Culver move. This is a Jarrett Culver move. Like we got. It's just really funny to me. Like we get these tertiary guys that probably aren't going to play that much, and guess what? They don't need to because we still consolidated our roster and we still have the horses. We still have the horses to go. Yeah. You know?
And Austin, turn your volume up. We're fine. And we're contenders, 100% contenders. The people who don't think we're contenders are Memphis Grizzly fans. Like, you look at like executives, you look at coaches, you look at players at large. Like, yeah, Windhorst said yesterday they don't fear the West. That's fine. But there are teams that respect Memphis because they know what they're going to get. They're going to get gassed. They're going to get run off the floor. We're absolutely contenders. And Astronomo, if we don't throttle OKC, the sun's still going to come up. We're still going to be fine. We're still going to be second in the West. And we're still a growing team who probably 60% of our roster have never played together. Played together. We have never
Bane, Tripp, Ja, and Gigi have never played together. Never played together.
And I don't know if you've noticed this, but over the months of December and January, I'm getting this off my screen. January and December, Dez averaged 22 points a game. Since Dez went out, Gigi came back and has scored 44 points in 2 games. I don't know. I don't know what to tell these folks, man. We are fine.
Yep. I mean, I think this is the last thing that this is. We got a kick-ass team, and we're grit and grind, not whine and snivel. That's Craig.
Shout out, Craig.
Shout out, Craig. Hop on the show sometime, Craig.
Shout out, Craig. Let's go. You're welcome here anytime.
Yeah, come on. Let's. So, how do they fit? They fit on a roster that needs players to fill the roster.
So. I think they are buyout candidates. Should a buyout candidate appear that we like, because this will clear up. They're not that expensive. We've got plenty of room. Say, I don't know,
Bruce Brown.
Ben Simmons or Bruce Brown. They said they're not buying him out, but say somebody that we like, and I don't want Ben Simmons, but say somebody gets bought out and we decide we like that, then we've got a couple guys we can buy out to create flexibility and room to bring one of those guys in.
Kelly Olynyk, or I don't know. I know that's a guy we talked about him last.
If Olynyk got bought out, I'd be the first one on the phone to his agent.
That's a dude. The trade deadline is over, but the roster building isn't. That's buyout market though. It's a weird place where you go to. It's like the elephant graveyard from the Lion King. There's still stuff that you can get.
That's it. But as long as you got Ja, Dez, and Jaren on this basketball team, we're contenders, and we're going to beat a lot of people. We're gonna be just fine.
Yeah, I agree. Moving forward, let's talk about the weekend a little bit, because there's some stuff happened this weekend. The weekend outlook. I thought there's 2 things I want to talk about. I'm kind of forcing you to talk about what's happening this weekend. I'm sorry. We play OKC. You're going. You and Uncle Buck are going. I'm not going to be able to go. I don't look at my calendar, and Finn has like an audition for like he's got a high school thing tomorrow. He's going to be going to high school, so we have stuff we actually have to do. And I was like, yeah, okay, too. And Kyla was like, no, and I was like, that's why you're in charge, baby. That's why you run the ship. And so that game, I'm going to be locked in hard because I think that. And this is important because like we out physical Houston, I think we can out physical OKC. And you know what? In all these games that we've lost, tell you who I wouldn't want to see in a 7-game series, us. I would not want to.
1,000%.
People always talk about who you don't want to see in a 7-game series. I don't want to see Memphis play.
Alfred Schengen in a 7-game series does nothing for me. Doesn't bother me one bit. And yeah, I think Oklahoma City, nobody blows out Oklahoma City, and so we're not going to blow them out this weekend. But we are the first time we played them, they beat the brakes off of us because we weren't like we were back to like Jared in the G League, right? Like half our team was out for that game. Yeah, we're the only person that may not play of our core is Dez, and there's a chance he might play. Doesn't sound like that rear foot sprain was as bad as they had initially thought. There's a chance he could play this weekend. Yep. I personally hope Chet plays because Jared is going to go through his chest the first quarter and let him know what he's been missing. Yep. Hartenstein doesn't scare me. SGA is the most unethical hooper that there is, and so he's probably going to shoot 30 free throws, and that's fine. But we're coming together as a team and as a core, and I don't know, man. I'm a very optimistic person, so I'll say that. But I've got a really good feeling heading into Saturday. I think that we have got a really good chance to go silence a lot of haters and a lot of doubters that are apparently Grizzlies fans in our comments this morning. And the song, like, keep this same energy. Should we beat OKC? Come in here on Monday and tell us that we're not contenders, that we can't beat a good team. The one game that Houston destroyed us, we were without some players, and then everywhere else has been every other game has been close. And so, Wayno, shout out for being here. Yeah. You understand we're a young team, but I put us against anyone in the league. Again, we're all we got. We're all we need, man. This is Memphis. It's a special type of player and a special type of fan. Yep. And if can't handle that, that's on you, brother. Yep. Or sister. No, we're not discriminating.
Or sister. The other thing this weekend that's going on, other than OKC, Memphis, the Super Bowl. I love that the Super Bowl's just been totally erased. There's no one's talked about it because of the trade deadline and all this other stuff. It's so great. I just want to ask you who you picking.
So I mean, it's becoming like you don't bet against Patrick Mahomes, right? Because he's got some kind of like voodoo magic or something that wins. I think we're all Eagle fans this weekend, and that's kind of scary to say because they're the Eagles. And so I think I'm gonna go Eagles. I'm going underdog. Okay. I've cooked up a little bet here. I'm excited about it. Nice. I've got an over/under on Xavier Worthy and Travis Kelce receiving yards, under on the Jalen Hurts passing yards, 2 field goals by Harrison Butker, and 1 first quarter passing touchdown by Pat Mahomes. I think I feel pretty good about it. But I always feel good about my bets, and I usually go home empty-handed. So we'll see.
I don't know how to bet, so I know how to. I'm just so bad at it. Yeah. I love Xavier. I love that Xavier Worthy. I think that he's going to be really good. I just think it's like the Eagles' defense is also like great. I don't know. I'm gonna. I don't bet, but I'm not betting against Mahomes.
I agree.
I'm not gonna do it.
At your own peril. Your own peril, bet against Pat Mahomes. And I ain't doing it this weekend, but my heart is saying go Eagles, but I'm betting he's going to throw a first quarter touchdown. And Travis Kelce's going to get 60 yards receiving. I mean, I think that's going to happen.
You can do both. Before we go, let's put this up. We got 8 players that would start on any other team.
Yes.
That's great. And that's a great way to go into the weekend.
And this right here, Kenny, like instead of a 30 for 30, let's do a Bluff City Media 30 for 30 about these fans and the crash outs that we see, like the ups and downs, man. Like we don't want you to stop being a fan because of bad decisions. And we didn't get worse on purpose. We made a bad decision, made a bad trade to get rid of a bad player. And what happens if that fixes our chemistry and we go on a tear? Wait a minute, Luke, we're already on one. We're 10-1 in our last 11 games, 4-0 in our last 4. Let's go, baby.
What?
Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's go.
go Grizz. It's going to be great, y'all. Have a good weekend. Be safe. Go to the game. Watch the Grizz get a dub. Watch the Super Bowl. Watch the ads. Watch Kendrick play it, not like us, 47 times. It's going to be great. And we can leave you with 2 things today. Remember these 2 things. Remember just to be a little weird all weekend. And remember to smile. Bye, guys. Have a good weekend. Go Grizz.
Go Grizz.